Alright, here I'm going to do something that's called factoring by grouping. So what I want to do is group these terms together and group these terms together. So I notice that when I have these two terms, that they share an x squared. That's the lowest thing that I can take out from each of them. So this becomes x squared. So remember, I'm taking x squared out of these two terms. So now this one only has an x minus, I don't have x squared anymore, I took it out, so this just becomes a 1. And notice that if I distributed this, I get back what I had up here. 2x's times another x is 3x, so 3x's, so that's x to the third power, minus x squared times 1 is x squared, so I'm good. Minus, notice what I have here. These share a 4, so I'm going to take a 4 out. Now, notice that when I take this 4 out, this, what kind of 4 was this? This was a minus 4. So I have an x here, minus 1. Now why is that? Why did I change the sign? If I distribute this, remember I should get back what I had before. So if I distribute this negative 4, I do negative 4 times x, which is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 1, which is positive 4. So that's why I had to change the sign here. Now notice what I have. I have x minus 1 and x minus 1. Now it looks long, but they still share this factor in common, so I can take it out, just like I previously took out the x squared and that 4. So let's do that. So now it looks like this. X minus 1. Now pretend that this is not here anymore. Pretend that this is not here anymore, and all I have is x squared. And this is not here anymore because you took it out, so I have minus 4. Okay. You should see where I get the x minus 1 from. My other part I got from here and here, whatever was left over from the outside. So now we have something that we can manage. Either this is 0, because look, I have this equal to 0, or this is 0. And I should have 3 answers in total. How do I know? Because my biggest power was to a third power. So since x to a third power is my biggest one, I should have 3 answers. If my biggest power was 4, I would need 4 answers, and so on and so on. So here I'll need to figure out how to get 3 answers. In that first one, I'm going to break this up. Either x minus 1 is 0, so let me solve that. Plus 1, x is equal to 1. Or x squared minus 4 equals to 0. Okay, look at what I'm going to do here. Plus 4, x squared is equal to 4. Well, that's x squared equals to 4. What I want is just x. To get rid of that squared, I need to take the square root. So square root. Okay. I'm running out of space, so I'm going to do that here. When you take the square root of something, most of the time we usually take just a positive answer. Here we need to get 2 answers out of this, so this is what we do. The square root of 4 is 2, so we know that x is equal to 2. When you actually take the square root of anything, like I said, it's positive and it's also negative. Okay. Usually in most problems we only take the positive answer. Now look at what this is saying. If I put a 2 in here, I would get 2 squared, so that's 4. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I'm good. What if I put a negative 2 in here? I should get the same thing. Let's see. Negative 2 squared, so it's negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. It's positive 4. Negative times a negative is a positive. So 4 minus 4 is still 0. Alright? So that's how I get my 3 answers. Your solution set should include negative 2, 1, and positive 2. We'll always write them in order from least to greatest. Go ahead and combine everything I've shown you and try this problem out. I'm going to show you the answer and how to do it in 3, 2, 1. Alright, this is how you work this one out. I moved my x squared to the other side, so I have 4x to the third minus x squared equal to 0. I notice that they both have x squares at the very least, so I take that out, I factor that out. So x squared times 4x minus 1 equal to 0. Now here comes your split. X squared equal to 0 or 4x minus 1 equal to 0. Now let's see what happens here. I should get two answers from here, but when I take the square root, notice that I would get plus or minus 0. Well, 0 is 0, so even though this had to a third power, two of my answers repeated. It was 0. So I just write one of them down, 0. On the other side, I add 1 to both sides, divide by 4, and I get that my answer is 1 over 4. So 0 and 1 over 4 are your answers. Alright, what if you get something crazy looking like this, and you have parts getting multiplied by fraction? Well, what I want to do is look at my denominator and get rid of those. I notice that I have a denominator of 2 and a denominator of 3. So what I want to do is multiply everything by 6. Why? Because 6 would be the least common denominator. So I want to get rid of my denominators here. Okay, let's see how we're going to do that. Multiply my left side by 6, and since I did that on the left side, I have to do it on the right side also by 6. Now let's see what happens. By the way, this is one big term, minus 4. So that 4 is another term. One term, two terms. So 6 times this term, well, 6 times 1 over 2, what's half of 6? It's 3. The rest wasn't touched because this is one big term, and that half took that 6. Minus 4, so minus 6 times 4, 24, equal to 6 times a third. Now notice how this is one giant term, and I know it's one giant term because this fraction and are getting multiplied. Okay, notice how this minus 4 was on the outside. It was separated from this, so it wasn't part of it. It's its own term. Here I have all of this together, and I don't have anything else plus or minus, so this is one big term. So what's 1/3 of 6? It's 2 times 2x minus 1. There. So at least now we got rid of our fractions. It looks a lot better. Okay. What I'll do now is that I'll go ahead and work the rest out. 3, and I'm going to distribute this 3, so I get 3x plus 15 minus 24. I didn't touch this minus 24, so I brought it down. And distribute that too. 4x minus 2. Okay? Here I have a choice. I could either move this 3 to this side or this 4x to this side. I'll just go ahead and I'll bring that 4x to the left side. Whatever you choose is up to you. Minus 4x minus 4x. I get negative x plus 15 minus 24 is negative 9. So negative 9 equal to negative 2. So we went from this craziness to having this. Negative x minus 9 equals negative 2. Okay, we can finish this one off. So plus 9 plus 9, I have negative x equal to 7. Now you're saying that negative x is equal to 7. That would mean that positive x is equal to negative 7. So x is equal to negative 7. Remember, depending on your teacher, they might want you to show the solution set. Alright, go ahead and pause the video and try this one out. I'll go ahead and I'll show you all the steps in 3, 2, 1. Alright, look what I did here. I noticed that my denominators all had 2's. So I think you have to think about this one. I just went ahead and I multiplied my whole left side by 2 and my right side by 2. So what happens here? 3 over 2 times 2 is 3. So 3x plus 2 times 2, 4, equals half of 2 is 1. Half of 2 is 1. Now remember, I didn't write 1 because 1 times x is just x. So it's redundant. I don't need to write that. So this is my next line. 3x plus 4 equals 1 minus x. I chose to go ahead and move my x to the left side. So plus x, 4x. I didn't touch anything else. So 4x plus 4 equals to 1. Subtract by 4, subtract by 4. 4x is equal to negative 3. Divide by 4. And x is equal to negative 3 over 4. There you go. Hope you got it right. Alright, last question for today. Go ahead and pause the video. Try this one out. See if you can do it before I put up the answers. In 3, 2, 1. Alright, here I notice that I have a fraction and I have denominator of x minus 2 for both of them. Just like before, even though it's going to be a little bit longer, I need to get rid of this x over 2 by doing the same thing. Instead of just multiplying it by a number, I'm going to multiply my left and my right side by x minus 2. So x minus 2 and x minus 2. Now notice what happens here. When I multiply this term, that denominator is going to go away. So, because x minus 2 divided by x minus 2 is 1, so it goes away. So I just have x. What I had in the numerator stays the same. Here though I have a 3. So I'm going to distribute that 3. I'm going to do plus, and actually let me do it the long way. This is what I'm doing, x minus 2. This is what I'm actually doing, 3 times that, x minus 2. Equals, and same thing here, had in the numerator and the denominator, so it goes away. So I just have a 2 left over. Alright, if you were comfortable, you could have skipped this step right into the next one, but it's up to you. This is what's actually happening here. X equals 2. I'm going to distribute this positive 3. So 3 times x is positive 3x. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. I'm going to collect my like terms. So here I notice that I have 4x minus 6 equals 2. Get rid of the 6. So plus 6 plus 6. 4x equals 8. And last step, x equals 2. Because I divided both sides by 4.